calm, totally motivated. How's everybody else? I wanna just give everybody a minute before we get going. And today we're going to talk about growth. You guessed it. I'm gonna talk about growth, the implication. The workbook is kicking my ass, says Valerie. Yeah, me too. Me too. You know what? I don't know if you saw this in the group, but I woke up on Saturday morning with this urge to paint my bedroom a different color. It was a teal color, and I was like, I don't know why, but in that morning before I got out of bed, I looked at the color swatches online for Benjamin Moore. I went to the store. I bought everything I needed. I put the primer on Saturday and then the paint on Sunday. And it was like physically exhausting. And I have no idea why all of a sudden I just felt like doing that, but I just did it. And, I don't know if the workbook, I really just don't know what got over me, but I was like, no, I need a change. I need like a change in the environment, like a change of something. And the best way to achieve change is the colors, right? The colors are so primordial for all of us in terms of how we observe reality. So I changed it to like a softer pink. It's called First Light from Benjamin Moore. And I really like it. So now it's drying, and I've been sleeping in my daughter's room. So I'll be moving back. Maybe I'll give it another night. And I got a new frame, a new decor. I'm going to get a new nightstand. I need new, Hi guys. Hi everyone. Okay, we're going to get going. So today is the first live of the year, January 5th. I'm live every Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, unless I'm on vacation. And you guys know I'm very consistent about this. If you miss one of the lives, especially now that we're doing the workbook together, I want you to please catch up on YouTube. I post them all on my YouTube account. And what we have been doing for the last 5 days, and we're all doing it together. Mine is marked up, so I'm not gonna hold it too much. We're doing this huge book, which is 1 page per day, that I put out in December. And thank you for everybody who purchased it, who's committed to themselves doing the work. It's not easy, huh? I told you guys, it's not gonna be easy, but it's so interesting and so amazing to discover the small pieces of ourselves. And I don't think I've made it incredibly sophisticated. Like, I think all the concepts are pretty much, you understand them, and if you followed my content, you have a sense of it. Somebody asked me if it's better to do it in the evening or at night. I'm realizing I have to do it in both, right? Because I have to read, reflect, integrate on the concept, like basically during the morning, and then I have to record any insight from my dream in its space, or I forget about it. But for example, what I'm grateful for today, whether or not I meditated and anything unexpected happened, which is a topic for every single day, this I cannot fill out until the end of the day. And also my journal prompt, I want to do it at the end of the day. So I spent maybe like 10 minutes in the morning. So this morning was like 10 minutes. I, did my notes around it. Even if I know a topic very well, this reinforcement of the concept is very important to me. And I really like today's exercise. So the exercise was, what is it that, one desire, one current goal, one direction that you've been thinking about. Guys, please don't call me. I don't take calls during my live. My lives are educational. So it was choose one goal. One goal you have to get married, to get this business, to get this promotion, to travel to India, whatever it is. And then see why this direction matters at the creator level, at the neutral machine level, and at your consciousness level. And it's interesting because I put my main goal here, and it makes sense when I break it down. Like, for example, the creator level, I always knew, like, since I was a child, that this is kind of my direction. It's just that I got caught up in life in a different way. And the neutral machine level, I put here that I've inserted all sorts of fears in the neutral machine, like before, years ago, and probably still do. We all still do. I was chasing a lot in my life. I was chasing success. I was chasing a certain goal. And I just need to do what I need to do, and then let go. That's always the lesson at the neutral machine level, I find. And at the consciousness level, it's really about what it is that brings me joy. It's more than, okay, I'm supposed to do this in life, okay? But what it is that brings me joy. And I ask, because we were at affirmation yesterday, I asked, what am I meant to do next? What should I talk about with the group? What should I do videos about? What should I do in order to get this message across? So I'm really going to contemplate on the journal. By the way, the journal prompt here at the end is more, it's a suggestion. If you want to journal more around something else or something that talks to you more, but please don't skip the exercises. It's easy to have a goal. It's different when you start breaking it down. And if it doesn't make sense at all the levels of reality, like the creator, the neutral machine, you start to wonder why. And you start to wonder, maybe you have the wrong goal, or maybe the goal is not aligned with something else in your life, and something else in your life needs to go in order for the goal to happen, etc. So that's where we're at. I would love to hear from you on where you are in the workbook. I started a thread in our group on Facebook, and people already populated with their breakthroughs and whatever's happened. It's only been 5 days. 5 days done, 331 left. I'm so encouraging on a Monday. You're on day 5. Yeah, I'm on day 5 too. 331 more to go, Yasmina. How do you feel about that? I think you already got a little financial win this year, so you're good. More is coming. More is coming. The way I run these lives is I take up questions, mostly whatever comes in during the week, that are pertinent to all, and I make it like a teaching moment. If you want to make a comment or contribute on the live, I'm really happy when I hear from you guys, because sometimes I feel like this is a monologue, and if you want to make it more of a dialogue, I'm happy to answer. Somebody's asking now, should we review what we've worked on from the previous journal days? You know what? You will be called to review when you feel like something clicks. So for example, as you go along with the work, you journal and all of a sudden you remember, wait a second, I wrote about this and either it came to pass or something connected with it. Let me go back and read. So you shouldn't go back and read it just for you to read it, just like a task to do. But you're definitely free to connect the dots, and you should connect the dots when things happen, or when you have a realization on top of whatever you realized in the one day that you journal. All of a sudden something happens, somebody says something to you, and maybe it's the same thing you wrote down, and you're like, oh my God, I was thinking about this. So you should always connect the dots, but not as a task to do to read your previous affirmations. What about the 5 goals for the year? So the first day in this journal, you would have combined those goals into a story of your life, right? We evolved. And I know I told, I think Valerie asked me this, and I said, just if you need to, write them out at the beginning of the journal. But really, because every single day in the month, so the first day of every month will be the story of your life. How does she feel? How does she, where does she work? Who does she interact with? Where does she live? What does she do every day? So the idea is you have to make all your goals into the story of you already living that life. So we moved on past the easy level of, here's my goals. I want to get married and I want to work in Paris and I want to, I don't know, take up gymnastics and what have you. You have to write that life around all of your goals. Do they all fit together? So, which is actually harder for your brain to do, to make a coherent story. But that's where we are. We graduated from that, I think. Somebody, Cass, I think she asked me about that. I mentioned that I will be fasting one day every week, and that's one of my goals this year, because I find so much clarity, and especially in my dreams, in the days that I don't eat. And I found a hack that for me is easy. If you guys want to try it, I'm gonna do it every Thursday. But it's very hard for me to just wake up and fast the whole day and not eat until the next day. So my hack is I will eat a big meal around 1 or 2 p.m., like a big meal, as much as I can eat. And then I'm not going to eat until the next day at 2 p.m. So that's a 24-hour fast without going the full daylight day without eating. Because I find that if I eat a big meal around 2 p.m., then by 7 p.m. I'm not hungry. And then, later on I go to sleep and I'm not hungry. I'll be hungry when I wake up, but that's easy to resist. It's just like, 8 to 12. By the time it's 12, I can last another hour. and it's 2 o'clock. So try that if it's hard for you to fast. But I plan to do this on Thursdays. Also, I mentioned it's going to be like a social media fast for me. I will still be in the group. That's different. I find that communicating with people, that's not what I mean by social media. But I will do my best, my absolute best. And I know I've done it before, to not scroll, not go over content. I want to be with my own thoughts. I want to observe in my own life. And I want to dedicate a full day to doing this every single week. I don't know. Whoever's in can join me on Thursdays. I can also put this in the group. If you guys want to do the day of fasting from the time you wake up until the time you go to sleep, that works too. That probably works better. It's just too hard for me. And then, I think of it as a task as opposed to the other ways. Actually, it's not hard at all. It's pretty easy for me. Try it either way. Somebody else asked me about meditations. In terms of, we have our new moon meditation in the group. We'll have that every single month. But then also I want you guys to meditate every single day, whatever meditation speaks to you. If you guys are new to meditation and you don't know what works for you yet, you have to circulate through various meditations to see what it is that calms you down. Number one, you need a meditation that calms you down. You need a meditation that completely makes you forget about your existing circumstances. For me, in the beginning, there's a channel that's called The Honest Guys that worked really well for me because they have a lot of story time and fantasy meditations. You can try binaural beats and different frequencies. In terms of 528, they say it's for love. 932, they say it's the universal healing and connection with the spirit. And see which ones of these meditations, which are freely available on YouTube, does you the most good. And you will see you won't be able to stay in a certain meditation for too long before your system will tell you it's ready for something else. But I kind of circulate. Guided meditations are, of course, the easiest. Sometimes you also need to just sit with your own thoughts and just sit with yourself. And I'm talking 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and sort of understand why you feel the way you feel. Those are the hardest meditations, I find. But everything where you're not in the game, forgetting your awareness, everything like that can be considered a meditation. So I meditated 5 out of 5. Okay, we have a section where I say, how did you meditate today or not? I meditated 5 out of 5. I don't make it every single day, but I hope so. I really hope so. I want to do it. Again, it's just like the gym. We'll see what happens. I never got the gym, by the way. I don't know how many people started the gym in January. Gym owners are really happy this week. They start getting unhappy in February. Okay, I want to get right into a testimonial or question that I want to talk to people about. I got an email from this queen in my group. She's saying, last time I emailed you, this must have been months ago. It was just before my mom's open heart surgery. At the time, you told me that sometimes we need to go through difficult experiences, such as surgeries, for our own good. I was emotionally desperate then, as this was my mom's 4th surgery in the last 5 years. Each surgery involved a different part of her body, and every time I had to pause my life in Scotland to return home and take care of her for several months. That always affected my financials and my relationships. 2 of those times, including the most recent one, my boyfriend decided to break up with me because he said he felt more like a friend as opposed to a boyfriend. I believe distance often brings underlying issues in a relationship to the surface. That's what happened to me, but that's not important, nor is the purpose of this email. I wanted to share what I learned from this experience. My mom is a religious person and has always been very skeptical when it comes to meditation and manifestation. After her surgery, she was very weak for a long time, but for the first time, she was open to listening to Dr. Dispenza's teachings. A friend gifted me Becoming Supernatural, and every evening I would read it to her. She was receptive and curious for the first time. She tried meditation for the first time in her life, and she felt amazing. After I returned to Scotland, she went to reading Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself on her own. She became so determined to continue this work, and she improved her English vocabulary just so she could follow the meditations properly. She's now in a much better place. She sleeps well without needing tranquilizers before bed, which was the case for decades. And she's consciously working on releasing past trauma and being angry all the time, which contributed to her last surgery, of course. Through this, I understood something important. Healing sometimes comes through pain. She had a good She had to go through all these surgeries to reach a breaking point, and from there begin something new, a completely new approach for her. I apologize for the long email. I simply wanted to share this with you. I also wanted to let you know that I've started working on the workbook. It's been a while since I noticed two patterns in my love life that I am determined to change this year with this workbook. And then she's just thanking everyone in the group for their energy. And she's saying she's not very active on in the group, but that she reads everyone's testimonials. And I think we have a lot of people like that who are not very active, but they're there to read and be inspired. So it's interesting because she starts with the email that you told me we need to go through this to learn and to grow and what have you. And I want to make an interesting point. You see, back in her mom's generation and all the generations that came before, religion was the key factor, okay? And in every religion, when you go through pain and suffering, and when you go through especially physical pain, somehow you are taught to accept it without growing. This is the major distinction, okay? And the way they present it to you is that you have to, this is your cross to carry in Christianity, or maybe God's punishing you, or it's your past karma in Hinduism, or whatever it is. It's always just something you have to endure, but there isn't a lesson about growth in it. There isn't, it's just, okay, you're gonna go through this physical pain because God wants you to go through this physical pain. You don't need to understand why, you don't need to ask why, you just need to be obedient and just do these things. And the way I see this and the way I presented it to her is sometimes when you don't follow a path for growth, because I told you there's no status quo in life. You can't stay in the status quo for too long before you start going the other way, down. When you don't grow on purpose because you're trying to control your life to keep it together just the way it is, you will be dealt these blows in order for you to wake up and grow. Now, in her case, because her mom actually woke up and started to grow, all of the health problems going away, right? To not have, what did she say, tranquilizers, painkillers, and sleeping aids before sleep, when she did for decades, and now she doesn't need it anymore because she's done meditations and growth and self-discovery. This is a big thing. This is a huge thing, right? For something like that to go away, for her to get better, for her to let go of anger, which is what I told you. I believe a lot of diseases have to do with unforgiveness, with this anger you carry, with this resentment you carry. They're all eventually expressed in the body. This may have happened 30 years ago. It doesn't matter. It's expressed slowly in the body as you're not correcting it. And if you're not correcting it, if you're not growing it, you will suffer for it. So this is sort of the distinction in terms of the way I see pain and disease and the way I relate it to growth versus the religious presentation of it. Is I think you're supposed to do something with it. Like, I think there's a reason for it, and you can't manifest like everything to be perfect all the time. But when it happens, the sooner you look for the growth part in it, the sooner it will go away. I've seen this happen again and again. And the fact that this happened with an older person who is not into this, but who just started to read this book, open her mind, grow, and see, okay, I don't want to be so angry. And it's probably just her emotional state that changed significantly, or it's her attention from, she probably was just paying attention like most older women in their 60s and 70s. They probably just pay attention to 3D because that's how they were raised. Maybe our attention all of a sudden, it's in this book, it's in this understanding, oh, wait a second, there's this energy system. So just that withdrawal of attention from 3D can have a healing effect, can have a growing effect. So sometimes it doesn't take that much to change something significantly. When you start following the path to grow, you will not be able to avoid pain for the rest of your life. But when you have it, the sooner you look for the lesson, the sooner it goes away. Remember, growth requires participation. You have to participate in the growth. It won't just happen to you. You have to, in her case, read a book, do a meditation, contemplate things differently, withdraw attention from 3D, be kind to people, which I'm sure she was from before. But all of this combined together, you will notice shifts coming to pass, okay? If the insight that you have, also for the women in my group, because we do receive a lot of insight in terms of dreams, prompts, somebody says something that we've been thinking about. So I want you, for those women, for these queens, for us, When insight is not followed and is ignored, what will happen is experience will become the teacher. So insight that you receive, you must do something with it. If you don't do something with it, um, something will happen to draw your attention even more to it. And sometimes that something could be negative. I'm leaving this with you. Every time you have something negative happen, even if it's little negative, look for the growth in that and look in the direction of growth and understand that growth requires participation. That's where you are. That's where we are. I want to see if I missed any comments before I move to the next one. I don't know how many times I heard my mom offer it up. It was don't ask, just the way it is. Okay, I don't think I missed anything. Meditation does do wonders for the mind. I hate it when people say, I don't hate it, but I'm just shaking my head. I don't have time. I don't have time to meditate. You don't have time to meditate, but when something goes wrong, you start to suffer. There's an illness in the body. All those 99 things you're juggling, they all go away. You can't juggle them anymore. All of the things that you thought were incredibly important, taking your kids to their 15 activities each, driving around, cooking, grocery shopping, that all kind of goes away if something happens, right? You realize they weren't really that important. It's interesting. It's interesting because a lot of people come into this work reactive, right? Like even a lot of people who go to Dr. Joe Dispenza, they don't go there to gain insight. They go there because I think like 80 or 90% of his audience are people who are ill. They go there with a serious illness. He's known as, like people have healed serious diseases by doing his practices and etc. But if you're doing it the way we're doing it, not reactionary, but for the balancing of our lives, that's totally different. So Ginger, you bring a good point. For 3 years, your body asked you to step away from a certain life. Your body knows first. Well, probably your spirit knows first, but if you're not in tune, you're not gonna have that intuitive thing. Your body probably, I'm gonna take that back. Your body is probably the last resort, right? But my point is when you feel it in the body, if you don't walk away, something bad gonna happen for sure. Right? Because your body is the last system of defense. Your body's completely rejecting doing something. It's no longer, it's mentally draining. It's no longer, this is not my purpose. I know I'm meant for a bigger purpose. It's no longer that. It's just when you feel it in the body and the body doesn't want to do that action. Sometimes it's little things. Like sometimes it just doesn't want to drink anymore, doesn't want to have coffee anymore, doesn't want to touch a certain person anymore, or someone who hurt you, doesn't want to go to work anymore, like literally doesn't want to do it. It's concerning. You've gone too far. Okay, in the interest of time only, not because I generally don't speak this fast, but I have a lot to cover today. I want to go to the next one. The next one was a testimonial that was left in our group by a queen, and I have a few things that I want everyone to contemplate on. She's saying, I follow Mona for a few years, and every time I watched her live, her words and wisdom resonated, but I wasn't ready to do the work. I was still wanting to change my life with affirmations, subliminals, and imaginal scenes. Yes, this worked, but my nervous system was triple deep fried. I like that expression. Her nervous system was triple deep fried, and I couldn't sustain or hold on whatever blessing came in. I needed to do some deep excavation and actually do the identity work that I had been avoiding. This year brought so many challenges. My mom was diagnosed with cancer. We're fighting. My marriage was on the rocks. I have 2 girls that need my attention. I felt like every wall that I have built to keep me from facing the fact that my life wasn't what I wanted was crumbling, and there was nothing I could do to stop the mountain of rubble forming beneath my feet. This is so well put. It's poetic, but it's exactly what happens. There's a point where there's nothing you can do to stop the mountain of rubble forming beneath your feet. However, 2025 also brought my family a big blessing. I delivered a beautiful, healthy boy in September. Congratulations. And my husband's business has unexpectedly boomed out what feels like thin air after I did the 60-day challenge. But aside from those wonderful blessings that I am deeply grateful for, a blessing that I chose for myself is that I finally made a decision to really invest in myself and my future and to work with an incredible teacher, Mona. to guide me and all the beautiful queens to creating, embodying, and living your dream life. Thank you, Queen. This blessing is one that will continue to bear much fruit, not only within my life, but also for my children. Envisioning them watching me embody and live to my full potential every single day makes me very emotional. The blessing that I decided to choose will be the intentional gift I give my children. My legacy is being written by my hand, no longer by my programming. This is deep also. I would be lying if I said this decision wasn't overwhelming and scary. But what's overwhelming and scary? It is. When you look at this book and you're like, yeah, I'm going to open a page every day and I'm going to meditate and I'm going to write on it. And obviously it's overwhelming and scary. I just don't want people who don't know me to think we're doing something overwhelming and scary. It's the work that we do on ourselves is overwhelming and scary. At times I feel I can't possibly take on everything with what I have on my plate, but at the end of the day, I'm only making more excuses to continue avoiding myself. However, I've noticed that outer stresses are somehow more manageable, even if it's slightly, when I have my own life together and I have a roadmap with an end destination in clear view. So anyways, then she's thanking everyone and she's saying she's excited for the work. And sometimes, guys, people think it's a small thing. Committing to yourself to do this work above an already, I'm sure everyone listening has an already full life, chock full life. A lot of people in my group have families, children, aging parents, responsibilities, work, etc. A full life. Committing to being like, okay, I'm no longer looking for magical rituals. I'm no longer looking for that, because even if I get something, I can't hold it. My nervous system is a triple deep fried. Remember, in your nervous system, you carry trauma that you don't even remember. Trauma from childhood, trauma from, that first boy you liked rejecting you. All of these are piled up, one layer on top of another. You think it wasn't a big deal, but to your nervous system, it was something unsettling that settled on top of something else that was unsettling, that settled on top of. So now, whatever happens in your life, you don't know which layer it's going to trigger. Right? Like, how do you know which layer it's going to trigger? So the nervous system, I just wanted to remind everybody, it beats mindset, discipline, it beats vision, it beats desire, because without a regulated nervous system, you really can't. You might be able to attract something, but you're not going to be able to keep it and contain it. You're going to default back to yourself all the time. And I think women these days have very, very, very much more of a problem with their nervous system that, say, my mom's generation did. My mom's generation had very different stresses, I think. They were much more plain kind of stresses. Even in regards to their children, they had a lot less stresses. Even in terms of overseeing, think about it. My mom didn't have to worry about what content I watch online. That's a huge stress in today's parents' lives. And so everything like that's added on top of, we have the same survival stresses, right? We also worry about our jobs. We also worry about our financial future. Plus, what is my kid doing online? Plus. What about that, what's happening at that party or that party? Plus, there's so many things, right? So sometimes affirmations, subliminals, all of these things, they can become avoidance tools. You're really avoiding doing the identity work on yourself. And the book that we're working on right now, like I said, it's about 80% identity, and obviously changing our understanding of the world and our assumptions. It's about 80% identity, because we created a stable ground of kindness, of affirming for one another, of we know how to celebrate each other, we know we want goodness. Okay, and on this plateau, we got to stabilize an identity that can sustain all the good that we've already proven ourselves that we can draw in our lives and manifest. That's already proven. It's already pretty much everyone who's with me is already convinced of that. They just know they've hit the ceiling, this plateau, because of the nervous system, because of identity, because of all of these things. Are you guys with me on this one? I just want to make sure you have the same kind of goal. Is anybody else noticing that they manifested things that it's the nervous system that's in the way? Really, by the way, nervous system, you feel it. You also feel it in the body. You feel it. Some people feel it in the pit of their stomach. Some people feel it in the shoulders. Some people feel it as throbbing headaches. It has different ways to express itself in the body, but it's all about the nervous system is not okay with whatever it is that's happening. By the way, the children in general, for those of us who are mothers or want to be mothers, children inherit your nervous system more often than not. I would say 9 out of 10 children have one of their parents or a combination of their parents' nervous system. So it follows that the biggest gift you can give to your children is a regulated and balanced emotional state and nervous system. What are good vitamins intake to regulate the nervous system? Somebody else will have to answer that, because I'm not a dietitian. I just know you can ingest anything, but if you don't self-regulate yourself, it's not going to happen. Because you can understand, first of all, why your nervous system is reacting that way, to what triggers, what lies underneath. And sometimes you got to make the tough decisions. Like some things from your life need to go, so you're not constantly in the same trigger. Someone asked me out of curiosity, how long did it take you to shift and change your life? So it took different amounts of time for different parts of my life, but it's also, you got to remember, I didn't know all of this stuff was happening, right? So by the time I caught on, I think it could have been done a lot sooner. My love life took me forever to figure out, forever. And then I realized, like, once I realized really what was wrong and the identity that I needed to embody, um, when I say it took me forever, like I would rather be single, right? Like I was celibate for like almost 4 years because I knew that I wasn't in a state. I was like, what is the need for this? I was going back and forth thoughts. So that took me like forever. But when I got it right, I got it right. As you guys know, I've been online, remarried. I was divorced when I sort of realized, okay, I think either it's me, either it's men, either I'm listening to too much conflicting information. And then I realized, no, you know what? It's not all men. And I'm a wife for somebody who knows how to appreciate that. And here's my box of my needs. Having needs is the most important thing in terms of knowing what your needs are. Because a lot of women are in relationships that doesn't meet their needs. And that's why they're neurotic, because their needs don't get met ever. And their nervous system is constantly telling them, get out of here. But they don't get out of there because, either they have it good financially or they don't think they deserve more. I'm rambling here. The point is, the easiest thing for me was my body, because I already had a good body image. The second easiest thing for me was financials, because now when I'm saying because, it's because I understood why. It's because, my parents always told me, you're very smart, you're going to make it well, you're going to have a great job, and everything they said kind of happened. But they never told me, hey, you're take a risk on a business because you're going to become like extra mega millionaire. No, they said, you're always going to figure it out. You're always going to have a good life. You're always like, and that kind of like, I realized that that's what I was thinking about myself. And if I wanted something more than that, like for example, if I didn't want to work like a dog in exchange for this good life, I need to do things differently. I need to see it differently. My parents were very hardworking people, of course. You need to change some fundamental beliefs that you have about money, about you as a woman, and is the world stacked against you or is it for you? Can you use your feminine energy to bring in more in your life, or is your feminine energy something that people are taking advantage of? This would be like a high level answer. Like, you're not going to be able to do a magical meditation and the next day you wake up with a different identity about money, body, health, love life, and magically your life is going to fit in a different category. It's not like that. Every area of your life will take a different amount of time. But I don't even want to say how long it took me, because I didn't have a guide, a teacher. I wasn't even like on social media. I wasn't watching anyone. And, I had like Tony Robbins. It's very different. Now we have all the tools. Just by listening to this type of information day after day after day, you'll start making connections in your life. If you understand the fundamentals, which is you have to react differently to everything, then you have to react differently than you did before. You have to pay less attention to the world and more attention to your own life. You have to understand why you feel the way you feel. You have to understand which people in your life are draining you and which people actually contribute to your life. You have to decide whether you'll be okay in every situation or if you need to stay in compromising situations in order. Like, these are decisions and work that you have to do on yourself. So I'm all about this work, this constant work. I think if I had had a guide and stuff, I think in like a couple of years, you can have a totally different life. Definitely in like 3 years. Things that you can get overnight. These are nice wins. They generally don't last. I don't know if this was a satisfactory answer. Like, for example, I knew I wanted to start a business. I was in corporate and I knew it like 5 years before my corporate career ended. That's too long. That's too long. But I didn't have it like incredibly awful. It's just that it was a lot of work. And once I realized to focus on something else, I made more money, but also my workload changed. Like, yeah, sure, I had like 12-hour days and 14-hour days, but when you work for yourself, it's different. It's totally, you want to do it. Then I also had like 3-hour days and 4-hour days. And I'm not talking about this business. I'm talking about like a 3D business. So sometimes you know what you meant for, but it takes forever to understand that you'll be okay, that you have what it takes, that all of this stuff develops slowly within you. And it has to do with what programming you've already received so far. And if you're able to just release it, because your parents may have spoken to you horribly. It's not the same. If your parents told you, oh, you're so smart, you're going to make it. It's different if your parents told you, you're stupid, you're never going to become anything, right? Even though it's just their opinion, it's still hard to shake and it's very painful. Some things like you can only shed with tears, and even that, and with forgiveness and with courage to forgive, and with big decisions such as cutting people off from your life. I know I'm rambling now, but I just have so much to say on this topic. I want to see if you guys are saying anything around this. Oh, is there somebody spamming? Psychic healer, let's block them. Okay, I blocked them. You guys know I don't use any psychics and I don't use any new age. Okay, I think we're good. Thanks for letting me know. Let's talk about people in our lives and growth and the people in our lives. Let me stretch a little bit. I'm telling you, painting is not easy. When I say I did it all myself too, because I was like, oh, I don't need any help. I'm gonna do this. As my husband said, like, oh, you don't need to do this right now. You'll see, I'll do it. Now, like, everything hurts. It's a great exercise, yeah. It takes a lot more out of you than you think, right? Especially with that roller, you gotta push it. I'm not used to so much physical work. My Pilates is nothing compared to that. And you're up and down on the stool or on the chair or what have you. It's just, I need a massage now. Let's just say I won't do it again too soon. But there is a reason this happened, you know? I want to talk about how, maybe I'll do a little video too, because this is important, how not everyone in your life wants you to grow, okay? Because we started this book, we're on day 5. You guys are going to notice big changes and you're going to notice these people. Okay. How come I didn't want any help is the last question I'll answer on this topic. It's because you told me I don't need to do it. Okay. You don't need to paint. Like, why do you need to paint? It's perfect. Why do I need to paint? I'm going to do it anyways. And then he helped me with the taping, just with the taping, you know, like, I'm going to do what I feel inclined to do. I'm going to go to the store. He's like, oh, we'll go next week. We'll get the pen. I'm going today. You don't want to go? I'm going today. And then I was carrying those gallons, like, to my car. I was like, anyways, it's done now. It's done now. It's a huge accomplishment, huh? When you feel like something and you execute on it. That's what I want you to take from it. Okay. I want to stay on. You will notice now that you're growing that not everyone in your life wants you to grow. Okay. And it's not malicious. I'm not saying the malicious ones. Those are easy to identify. I'm saying the people who don't want you to grow are the people who don't know how to coexist with you once you do change. Okay? They don't know, and they will be uncomfortable around you, and you will sense this over the next couple of weeks, at least from a person, guaranteed, as we're going through the workbook. Guaranteed. And if you sense, now here's the more esoteric part, if you sense that you're becoming clear, regulated, what have you, but your life is not catching up to it, look at the people in your life and understand that the ones that are not growing will draw some of that energy from you. And that energy, like we talked, the system is neutral and all of this, that energy that you're gathering for growth, if you try to do things the same with everyone around you, a lot of that energy will be redistributed to people who are not growing. Why? Because the system is into people growing, everyone evolving at the current point in time. So if Mona grows 10 points in 2 weeks, 10 points out of a million or 2 billion, 2 of those points, or maybe 8 of those points, will be knocked down and put on her friend who's always calling her and needs rescuing. And maybe that friend will be the one manifesting, a new promotion or what have you. Not that Mona wanted a promotion. It's basically she's manifested it on my energy that's been redistributed. Of course, I would never be able to prove that, but I think in this group, a lot of people have had that experience of other people piggyback on them. Now, if you put a financial manifestation, your husband got it and you have a great husband, that's different. Okay. Or in our group, somebody put a promotion and her daughter got it. That's great. Okay. But you got to understand what's actually happening. Now, if you have friends who are all into growth and you're all growing together, those relationships might change also, because growth does require solitude and does require inner reflection, focusing inwards. So you may notice, even in people that you're growing with, like me and my best friend, we have this growing trajectory for the last 4.5 to 5 years. But it's serious work, okay? And she's even more serious than me, and she's achieved some really incredible things, like very specific. We have times where we might not talk or even say hi for like 5-6 days. You know what I mean? Because it's just, and then it could be like days where we talk 7 times a day. And I never push that. So unless I have something to say in those 5 days, life needs time to integrate. So it's never a pressure of, oh, I didn't check in with this person. I didn't check up on her. She's going to be upset. She's going to do this. She's going to do that. If you have in your life this obligations, I'm not talking about calling your mom to see if she's okay. Of course you have to do that, especially if your mom is 60 plus. Obviously you have to call, hey, are you okay? But you can't get caught up in whatever energy she's spinning in. That's my point. So, in terms of other people, there's really 2 paths that people take in this life. One is conscious growth, and one is, let's call it unconscious maintenance, status quo. The conscious growth people are people usually who are either taught this, or something happens in their life, again, something bad, and then they realize they got to change something, but you don't need to let it go there. The unconscious maintenance, these people are people who just need sameness. They need to be maintained by you. They need to reassure themselves that you still love them exactly the way they are, that they need to, these are people who tell you, Mona, you've changed. You used to be different. You've changed. Or maybe it's your partner. You used to do X and Y and Z, and now you do M and L and L. M and L. It's because you're supposed to change. You're supposed to grow and change in life and not do things exactly the same way. And these people need so much reassurance that all the energy that you're able to manage to channel via inner awareness and focus, all of that will be dissipated if you're not careful about it. Pay attention, because I'm saying we're doing this major work. Okay? And even today's exercise, which was, does my main goal match at all these levels? Let's say your main goal is to marry the person you're with, and all of a sudden you find that it doesn't match at these levels, or all of a sudden you have a realization that changes your behavior towards this person. Maybe that you'd be okay marrying someone else. Maybe that marriage is not even that important. Your behavior is going to change. If this person is not growing, it's not being like, okay, this relationship is advancing or is changing or what's happening. They're growing also. They want to go in the direction you're going. If they're not there, they're going to start behaving insecure. You're going to start having fights. You're going to start to have people not talking to you. This is like normal responses of 3D reality via the people around you to what you're doing. What if you have a good-hearted partner, mother of your children, I guess, but is the same person for years? No real mind upgrade. Manny, how has your upgrade? If you're upgrading and she's not, you're both staying the same. That's great. No change required. But you will go the other way, right? Because every system tends to go through entropy. Everything in nature, right? It never stays status quo. But if you're saying you're growing, how is your growth affecting the way you are in the relationship? What's missing for you right now? I'm going to block one more person. This person who hates being here. I don't have time for the depressed. I only have time for people who do things differently. You block them. I blocked them. Listen, I'm nobody's therapist, honestly. I'm even talking in my own life. People are smart enough to know when they need help. And I will never try to convince anyone of anything. I know my life is good because I made it that way. It's not ideal by any means, but as long as I'm going in that direction, I'm happy with myself. I'm blessed with my life. I'm blessed that I have people to love. I'm blessed that I'm healthy. But all of this took work. I'm blessed that I have this schedule that I have. I'm blessed with everything. But I found joy even in I found joy in me applying pressure with a roller on my wall, painting my wall. I was doing something myself. I could have been like, what's the point of doing this? So I got pissed off with when my husband said it doesn't need to be done. How do you know it needs to be done in my head? I'm telling you it needs to be done. Right? Like, it's really difficult to stand your ground. I don't say difficult, but it can lead to conflict when your partner doesn't see things the same way. It's interesting for us to think about this because this work might trigger that in you. You might wake up and want things done completely differently, like I wanted the room painted. It's going to happen when they say you're crazy or why are you doing this or this doesn't need to be done. And are you prepared to do it anyways, or are you going to back off? Because when you back off, you lose points. You got to follow all intuition, remember? Hmm? This type of work is not for everyone, says Mega Stra, unless they are in the same frequency. Yeah, what happens is sometimes you and your partner start off with the same frequency. Then one of you changes. Then the hard decisions come. Yeah, I'm in all the way. Look, I'm gonna do whatever it takes. I don't feel like I'm somebody's emotional responsibility. Okay. All I need really emotionally is for people to respect me, people in my life, a hug, a kiss, and a smile. Okay. I'm not gonna cry on anyone's shoulder. I'm gonna self-regulate. I expect every adult in my life to be able to do the same. Unless, of course, like, okay, if somebody's mom dies, obviously I'll be there for them. But the fact that they don't like their job and they always need to be rescued, and, guys, you have to understand that many times when you regulate and you have these cords with these people that you've always been there for, but you regulate, their lives may take off and yours will stay the same. If you provide them with the same level of access, remember we talked about the baby egg? Somebody really liked that, used that a lot in the group. If you provide them with the same level of access, the same level of rescue, if you over explain yourself, if you do all these things, people are able to take your growth away from you and use that energy for themselves unconsciously. Some people may be able to do it consciously too. Know what I mean? I want to see if I had anything else. Like, you may literally become the charger and they are the device. You charge their device. I would just watch your life in the next week or so, especially if you're doing the workbook. Say no. Learn how to say no. Learn how to say no to your kids. Also, if your kids, especially if your kids are not kids, they're double digits, they can make their own sandwich. Right? Charger and device. Yeah. They start taking your energy. This. I don't know. I had a relationship question that I can't find right now. You guys have any relationship questions? I know people want to talk more about it, but I know I put it here and now it's not here. Anyways, it's not here. So manifestation is all about energy, structure, container. If you generate energy while your container is leaking, you're gonna lose it. So the energy, it flows and you know how it flows to the path of least resistance. It needs the structure to exist, to be contained. We call this the structure identity in our work, your identity. But when the energy flows, remember energy, structure, and container, your container is leaking, it could go to the next person whose structure may be a match for it. Like the woman was manifesting the perfect husband and her friend got it. Maybe her friend's matrix, identity, structure was perfect for that type of man already, was there. She had no doubts. Or she just thought she was on a hiatus from her dating life, but not for long. She will meet the perfect guy. She didn't need to go through all this work to create it. Somebody else created it. She just attracted it, purely attraction, purely because as person A started to generate the energy and create this person from the formless substance, her container couldn't hold it, but the energy needs to go somewhere. It can't stay there until you're ready. So this is the biggest lesson. The energy you are creating will not stay with you if you don't have that structure, but it will go somewhere. It will go somewhere. Somebody else. Now you have to generate it all over again. Do it all over again because your container is leaky. Were you able to get over your frustration towards your husband? I find the small rifts challenging to let go of. Yeah, but the way I am, Valerie, guys, please don't call me. I don't take calls during my life. The way I am really can't stay in a state that's negative for too long. And I know we talked about this. Like, I naturally sometimes even try to pretend that I'm still upset because I know that's the right thing to do in terms of self-respect, but I'm actually not, because I just don't think it matters that much. You know what I mean? Like, things are going to go the way I've decided they're going to go. In terms of, even if the worst thing happens, okay, Valerie, I know like nobody wants to talk about these uncomfortable things, but if partner leaves you, or they cheat on you, or they don't want you anymore, things are still going to be okay. You know what I mean? Like, It's not like this is the last person that exists, the last man on earth. It's not, I don't want to sound disrespectful because that's not how I am. I'm saying I just get over things because they're really not that important. It's not like, who cares? I wanted to paint my room. It would have been nice if my partner said, "Let me help you paint the room." Since he didn't, since his ego is too big to be like, because when he said, "Oh, let's do it next week," I don't want to do it next week. Okay, if I need it done now, I understand. Like it's I have to do it alone. That's okay. The more I do it alone, the more he should realize that I can do everything alone. So then, what's his purpose? He should worry about that, not me. Right? Hey, I'd be worried if my wife is able to do everything by herself, especially if when I found her in life, she was doing everything by herself. Valerie, you're on your second, I'm on my second. Like that. Like we've already proven to ourselves we can do everything ourselves. So now a man has to produce a lot of value to be around, because otherwise, what's the point? Right? Like, what is, yeah. What do you think about a partner who isn't spiritual at all? Men often are not. Mine is not spiritual, but he does believe in this thing with the intention and getting what he wants out of life. He just does it from 3D. Okay, he's done well for himself. He has incredible discipline. I'm sure the mindset is on, I'm gonna get this and I'm gonna get to this level and this level and this. Like he's very ambitious. So I don't know. That's not really spiritual, but it's a way to keep your mind together and not drift. So for example, he goes to the gym every single morning, Monday to Friday, 5:30 to 6:30. And then he's at the office before 8 o'clock. That takes a lot. So even if somebody's not spiritual, look for this type of qualities that he's not going to be in your way. He's going to be on a path to success. He has his mind together. He's not easily swayed in this political gossip and that, I don't know, looking at other women. And, he needs to have some sort of way to contain himself. Like the spiritual practices we do is to keep really ourselves together, our minds together, away from the world, away. Like it's in an inner discipline. Discipline and consistency is very important. Yes. So you want to look for that type of man, even if he's not spiritual. They called us in 3D, he has his life together. You want somebody who has his life together. Now you're not always going to agree on things, right? Like I'm sure from his perspective, he's just lying there on a Saturday. He did his extra workout on Saturday morning, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to pay my room. I get it. He's like, I don't feel like doing this right now. I totally get it, but I'm going to do it anyway. So you got to understand that they're not always going to be on the same wavelength, but as long as they're not in your way. The moment they start being in your way, the moment they start telling you, "Oh, but you've changed. Oh, but we used to do it 5 times a week. Now you only want it once a week." Like it's always a complaint. You always have to manage. I used to cook more. I'm hungry. What's for dinner? Like that kind of baby, like that. You have to mother them in any way. That taking something away from you. That's the red flag. Otherwise, if it's not spiritual, it's not spiritual. Yeah, Rasa, you know what I'm talking about? You used to give me more attention. I see things have changed. And her husband, I'm not gonna make him this or whatever because he upset her. And he's like, talking. I see things have changed around here. She was like, I totally like lost all my attraction in that second, like you get it back, like things, life has an ebb and flow. But yeah, when somebody says something like this and they're sulking like a lady, I see you think you don't love me that much anymore. Come on. You feel stronger than him. But yeah, frustrations really do add up, Valeria. I know exactly what you mean. It's they lessen attraction. It's almost like it's so much work to get back to that point. But this is what I'm saying. The man in your life has to be a reason. It has to be like a very clear reason why he's there. Right? Because you always want to go back to that reason. You want to go back to, okay, this is why. And if all of those reasons fall apart and you no longer have a reason, Guess what? Tough decisions incoming. But we don't worry about that now. We don't worry about that now. I don't really like, he pissed me off. Okay. But I don't really blame him. Like, I don't think it's not the same as, doing something bad, right? He just wasn't in the mood to do it right then. If I needed it done right then, I had to do it myself. Right now, this year, let's not make any big dramatic changes unless they come naturally. Okay? Because we're focused on our work. I'm enjoying. So far, 5 days, 5 out of 5 I've enjoyed. Angelica says, I broke up with someone like that, my life skyrocketed. Yeah, if the man drags you down and if he starts placing all these demands on you, like my rule, and I told this to my husband, like when we're dating, if you're not adding something to my life today, you can't take anything away. Also, okay? Like at the very minimum, it has to be neutral. Like I understand everybody's like, when you come through the door, you have to have a smile. I don't care how your day went at work because you come to your family, you're not going to put it on us. You're going to come and you're going to say, hi, babe. How are you? How was your day? And then I'm going to ask, how's yours? Have a seat. Here's a drink. If you want to drink, it doesn't drink during your week. But, then I'm going to ask, how was it? Oh, it wasn't the best day, but, dude, this is your family. This is where, like, I'm not managing you at the end of the day. I told him that. So if you can't contribute, if you're that low, just eat, just go in the family room and just leave me alone. Like, don't talk to me at all. No dumping. Yeah, exactly, Rasa. No dumping. When you're doing spiritual work, do not let anyone dump on you. Okay? Unless it's like a serious issue, like one of his parents passed away, would be a serious issue, knock on wood, right? But eventually it happens to all of us. But unless it's something like this, don't bother me. Oh, and I told him now because I'm working on this. And he was trying to talk to me one morning when I'm talking on it. I said, don't talk to me when you see me doing my workbook. Okay? When I see you when you work from home, I didn't say it on this tone, but that was the message. When I see you on the phone, I tiptoe around you. Okay? If you're on the phone, you come upstairs to get a glass of water, you're in the kitchen, I don't start speaking to you. When you see me doing my work, do the same. Right? Communication and boundaries. Boundaries, guys, are so important. I think 2 things are critical for women. Number 1 is knowing your needs. Like, because in a relationship, I have need for solitude. Some women have need for a lot more attention than I do. Whatever your need is, you gotta know it. Number 2, boundaries. They're related, right? Because boundaries, it's correlated to the needs. Is my boundary. If I have a need for solitude, if I have a need to focus on something, you're not going to come and speak to me. When I'm sitting in this chair, but you have to communicate all of this. When you see me doing this, this is what I need. When I come towards you and I put my hand around you, this is what I need. When I just speak about your needs, communicate them once or twice. Twice at the most. If you're communicating 3-4 times, they're still not being met, they're never going to be met. And you can go back to your decision-making process. Guys, I love you so much. I'm so excited to have this space to have you, to be able to talk about these things, to do this book together, to just, talk about our lives. It's just such a precious space. I don't feel like I'm performing. I don't feel like, it just feels really good at this point. And I just wanted to share that with you. I hope it feels good for you too. I'll see you next Monday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be present in the circle every single day on your comments, and if I have something to add of my own comments. And on Thursday, I'll do a lunch, and then I'll do a 24-hour fast if you want to join me. Let's put our hands together. I'll never quit this practice. 3, 6, 9. I am a winner. 1 breath in. I am a winner. 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 I am a winner.